I'm not really a violinist, I'm a cellist, so I can make it sound better like this. Anyway, this is a Mirio violin sent to me from the people at Mirio. They asked me if I would look at one of their violins, and I agreed. And you're probably thinking, well, you're a ukulele guitar guy. Actually, no, I got my formal training in the violin world and was involved with design teams for a violin line for a big wholesaler. Worked in a bass viol shop for a while. And violins, cellos, basses, violas were my world for quite a few years. So I've got quite a bit of experience in this field. This is a Mirio full size. I'm looking at the way they advertise this on the website here. If you'll just behave, please. It's a full size, handmade, oil rubbed, solid top spruce wood fiddle. Interesting they use the word fiddle. With Alice strings, carrying case, with hygrometer, shoulder rest, bow, rosin, extra strings, and wipe cloth. So it's a really good outfit. So what you get essentially is this oblong case here. A nice oblong case. Comes with two bows. One here, I've taken the other one out. This is the second one. It has a hygrometer for to keep track of your humidity. Most violin outfits don't come with a shoulder rest. They give you a Kun style shoulder rest, which attaches on the back of the instrument here to hold it on your shoulder. Now that is something you're going to need. A lot of new violin players don't realize they've got to buy that accessory. It can be a pad, it can be a cushion, or it can be one of those bars that fits across the bottom of the violin. It helps the violin sit in the correct place on the sternum. So it comes with a shoulder rest and a space in the case for the shoulder rest. My big gripe is a lot of violin cases don't have anywhere to put the shoulder rest inside the case. They've got two hollowed out areas here for your shoulder rest. The violin goes here. Then you have a nice cloth to go on the top like that. Inside the accessories case there are an extra set of strings, which is nice. You don't always get that. A polishing cloth. Don't use pledge, just use the cloth to wipe off the violin. A cake of rosin and a shoulder strap for the case so you can carry it like a backpack. This is what you call an oblong case, not a shaped case, and it's actually quite nice. It's technically a hard shell with like a Cordura cover. It's a pretty decent one. You probably pay anywhere between $30 and $60, $75 for a cheap oblong case, so it's a nice thing to come with the instrument. And of course you can ship it in this as well. Most outfits don't come with two bows, but I've noticed a lot of manufacturers starting to include two bows in the outfit. The good about this instrument, where is it? I put it in the case. The good about this instrument, first of all, solid spruce top, maple, flame maple back and sides. The correct materials, gives you a close-up here. Nicely grained spruce top, flame maple, book matched on the back and sides. A lot of cheap instruments crafted in Asia are using sort of cheap woods like basswood, sometimes laminates. So the fact that you're getting the correct traditional woods for the violin is good. I looked at this pretty closely. I think it is real flame, not painted on. Sometimes it's hard to tell with a matte finish. When you have a gloss finish, it's easy to see, the flame going through the wood. But I have no reason to disbelieve them. This is a solid maple scroll. The neck is maple. And the second good thing about this instrument is it comes with ebony parts. So the fretboard or fingerboard, there's no frets, it's a fingerboard, is maple. Ebony is ebony, get it right. Pegs are ebony. Chin rest is ebony. With a lot of cheap violins, they substitute either rosewood or some other hardwood painted black, what they call ebonized, and it's not real ebony. Ebony is the densest hardwood, so it's the best possible wood for these kind of fittings. Remember, a violin is very highly strung, so string pressure is really high, and ebony doesn't warp like a lot of other hardwoods do. So that's a good feature as well. It has the tailpiece with the fine tuners as well, so you can dial in much closer tuning. By the way, the bridge comes off. You have to put the bridge on. You have to put the bridge between the notches of the F-hole, and you have to make sure the back plane of the bridge is perpendicular to the top. So that's a little bit of something you have to do when you buy most outfits, is place the bridge. And a lot of people don't know how to do that, so it's something you might need to watch a video for. The advertisement on Amazon here, by the way, this is $209.99. You can buy beginning violin outfits as low as $60, $70, but they're usually not solid wood and they're usually not ebony, so you're paying for these extra features which you want in a student violin. I always tell teachers and people looking for the first violin, don't settle for lesser woods. Make sure you get, even if you buy a used one, get one with a spruce top, maple back and sides, and ebony trimmings. You'll thank me later on, because so many violins that cheat, that don't use those woods, that use substitute materials, end up not lasting, not staying in tune, not being fun to play, and breaking. So these are, for me, the starting points. Make sure spruce, maple, doesn't have to be flame, it's nice if it is, but maple, ebony parts, particularly with the pegs and the fretboard, because with a lesser hardwood or a softer wood, the fretboard can warp and the pegs don't fit properly in the scroll. The tailpiece can be metal with the fine tuners, that's fine, but this one actually is ebony as well, which is nice. And the chin rest can be another material as well, but again, with it being ebony, that's a nice chin rest. That's a Guarneri style. No, it's not. I forget what they call these. It doesn't go over the top of the tailpiece, but it's a fairly standard shape for a chin rest. You can swap those out for something that fits your chin better. However, most people just stick with what comes on the instrument, at least to start with. So there's a lot of good features about this, and it's better than a lot of beginning violins on the market, particularly under $200, $300, $400. Now they do say comes ready to play, easy setup, and that's not quite true, although this is by far on the higher end. Things that I notice when I put the bridge in the correct place and tune the strings up, the action or the string heights are a little high. So some wood may need to be shaved off, maintaining the curvature, which most people are not going to be able to do, so that may need to go to a violin shop to correct that string height. It's not terrible, but it's a little on the high side. Also, the bridge wasn't really well notched, so to make this more playable, I will reshape the bridge and groove out the notches a little deeper and lubricate them with lead so that the strings sit a little nicer on the bridge. The fretboard's pretty decent, the nuts cut fairly well, and the pegs fit fairly well. One of the biggest problems with intro or student grade violins are badly fit pegs. These don't fit all the way flush. However, they're not bad and they seem to be holding tension. I could shape them a little bit more and make them fit a bit more snugly in there, which is probably what I'll do. And then, of course, it has the finish removed from the neck, which is commonplace with violin family instruments. A lot of guitarists go for this now as well, the naked neck, so your hands don't hang up as you move up and down the neck. Also, the bridge could fit a little bit better. There's a couple of little gaps. It's not bad at all. It's certainly, I've seen some absolutely awful instruments, beginning instruments with the parts that just, none of the parts fit. They're so terribly put together. Just very slightly, I could make the feet fit the top a little bit better with some sandpaper, and getting the contour of the bridge feet to be more of a snug fit. So there are some tune-up issues with this. You could play it as it is, but it's worth taking it to a violin shop or to a luthier and getting those few things, just a little bit more accurately fitting. So fit pegs and fit bridge are the two things that I notice on this that could be a little bit better. But it really is not bad. It's certainly better than most of the $100 violins I've come across. It's a typical Strat pattern violin. Nothing out of the ordinary. It is a matte or a satin finish. And it's quite attractive. The woods are quite nice. Other little things about the outfit. It does come with 2 bows. Now the website says 2 ebony bows. That's technically not true, so that's something Mirio could correct if they watch this video. The bows are Brazil wood, but they have an ebony frog. Now a lot of times companies cheat and use a lesser wood on the frog, like a rosewood frog, or even some hardwood painted black, and they're poor, they don't work very well. So it's good that it's an ebony bow. However, it's not the highest grade of Brazil wood. This bow is the better of the 2. The other one, once I tightened the strings up, it lost its camber very quickly, camber being the curve necessary to keep the horsehair taut. Also, it's good that it's horsehair and not synthetic. That's good. However, I would encourage companies, instead of sending 2 relatively cheap bows, just send 1 good one. Just 1 good one's better than 2 cheap ones. This being the better of the 2, certainly could be used by a student. The other one has less camber, and also some of the hair was coming out when I tightened it up. So the cork that holds it in place may be a little bit loose. So the bows are usually the weakest part of every violin outfit. These aren't bad at all. It is an octagonal shape on the bow stick. And these are Brazil wood, not Pernambuco. These are not, really high quality bows. They're student bows. But they do have ebony frogs. And they are operable. I mean, a lot of bows I find in beginning violin outfits are junk. And you basically have to buy another bow. So it is often the weak part of a violin outfit. These are decent. However, I would encourage the company, upgrade the bow and just put 1 in there. One better one rather than 2 slightly less quality ones. So that's something I'd advise, although this one here is not bad at all. It's got pretty good balance. The horsehair is nicely seated here in the ferrule, and the button tightens the hair and slackens it, and the camber is decent. As I tighten the bow, you still got that nice camber that keeps the hair taut. It allows you to play. Another thing I noticed, and this is also common to most cheap violin outfits, they give you rosin, but the rosin they give you is crap. I mean, it's cheap. A lot of times I open a cheap violin outfit and the rosin is so cheap and poor, low grade, that it often is disintegrated to dust or powder by the time you pull it out the case. This one cracked right away. So even though they give you rosin, and I did manage to get rosin on the bow to enable it to give it traction on the strings, you're going to need to buy a better cake of rosin. And I don't know, maybe manufacturers and distributors put these cheap ones in there because they get these for a nickel a piece or something. A nice cake of rosin will cost you more like $8 to $12. So they're much more expensive, but you just can't get by too long on this on these really cheap packs of rosin. So it says here it's high grade rosin. It is not. It's fairly cheap. Another thing I noticed is when you look at the strings and you look at the winding of the strings, they're colored windings here down here. I don't know if you can see that. You'd be forgiven to thinking these are really good tomastic dominant strings because they have the color windings, but I noticed that the colors don't quite match, so these are not high grade strings. But the company's not trying to fool you because they say right on the title of the ad, spruce wood fiddle with Alice strings. Alice being a very cheap manufacturer of strings that are sold on eBay, so they're not high quality strings. So one of the first things that a luthier or a teacher even would suggest if a student bought this violin, first of all, go get the bridge and the pegs fit a little better, but also put some better strings on it. Doesn't sound bad. I've heard a lot worse. There's some terrible factory strings, just like the guitar world. But these are not high end. They're okay. They'll get you by for a few lessons. But at some point, you're going to want better sounding, better feeling strings. So lots of positives about this. And for $200, I think it's a really good outfit. However, you're going to, as with most of the guitars and ukuleles that I show on here, a little bit of setup goes a long way. And there are just a couple of things about the outfit that could be improved. I would say upgrade the bow, just put one in there. Also, maybe, if it's possible for the company to upgrade the rosin as well. This one, it'll work, but it's pretty much disintegrated. And the fact they give you 2 sets of strings is really nice. However, the strings are fairly low grade, so I can't see anybody using the second set if they're Alice strings, and it looks like they are. So, yeah, those are just some observations about the violin. But you get everything you need in the outfit. A lot of outfits don't come with a shoulder rest, so they give you that. And it looks fairly decent. It's not a brand name, but it looks serviceable. And then, there are just a few tweaks to make this play a little bit better. But for, a $200 violin with free shipping, I have seen a lot worse. In fact, most of them have a lot to be desired. To get a violin that is made with the correct woods, with really nice figure on the maple, and that sort of spirit varnish look that has sort of a little bit of a fade. It's a classic look that goes back to the Italian violin makers. So it looks great. It functions really well. It's pretty well made. I wouldn't get anything cheaper than this personally because they just have too many problems. The fact that it has ebony and maple bridge and serviceable parts and a nice case, I think this is a good outfit. I could see this selling for as much as $250, $300, $350. It's up in that ballpark. So it's a good student violin, and I'm happy to recommend it. And the fact that I do advise a few changes is not detrimental to this company, because almost every new violin I've had come to me for setup needs adjustments, needs setup, and a lot more than this one. So the fact that I have to correct the height of the bridge, the string heights, maybe shape the feet a little better and fit the pegs slightly better, although these will be okay, I just think I can make them fit a little bit better in the peg holes, because remember, these are friction pegs. Those are all pretty normal setup things. Those are things that I have to do on a lot of outfits. So I'm really happy that they sent me this. I'm happy to look at it. It's a pretty decent student violin. You know, it's got good woods. It's real purfling as well. It's not drawn on. It looks like it's inlaid. Purfling being the black strip around the edges that gives the violin some structural integrity. So it's made with all the right materials, and it will function with a good setup. And it's pretty decently priced. So that's what I have to say about that. And maybe I'll share it to you again after I set this up. I can't play it very well, but maybe I can illustrate that it's going to sound much better once those few things are corrected. But it's a very good base to get somebody started. All right, folks. See you in the next one.